Greetings and salutations, my friends. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Ramble. Today we've got lots to talk about. We're going to talk about the Liverpool-Arsenal game, obviously, just for a little bit. Quick update on my Uncharted playthrough, because I know a lot of you guys are enjoying that. Obviously, I've just got PlayStation 4, so I'm playing through the whole series. I've never played it before, so it's been really good. Also going to introduce you to my dog, Freya. You've probably seen her pop up in a couple of videos, but we're going to do a full introduction, tell you about her history, how we got hold of her, and all that sort of stuff. Give you a diet and cigarette loss updatey thing. My rant today is going to be on the subject of open world games and my dislike for them. It'll be quite an interesting one, this, because I know this is going to be very juggling, apparently. Very juggling. It's going to be very juggling, so I think some people love them, some people hate them, so we'll just sort of see how that goes. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So the first subject I'm going to talk about is a Liverpool-Arsenal update, and it's kind of the same as it is every week when I talk about Liverpool. We're really good against good teams, we're shit against shit teams. And it's not, people say it's because, Liverpool don't care or they don't turn up for the small games. That's bollocks, that's not it. It's because of the way the small teams play. They don't care about possession, generally they want to defend deep, 2 banks of 4, all that good stuff, and then break quickly. And that is our Achilles heel. That is just how you play, no matter who you are. Because the thing is, even if you're Chelsea, Man United, Man City, Arsenal, whoever the fuck you are, if you try and do all this ticky-tacky play out from the back stuff, we will beat you, or we will have a very good chance of getting a result against you. It's not the way you play against Arsenal. Pochettino made that mistake, and Wenger made that mistake, when it's clearly so obvious. And I don't know whether it's just ego that they think their team can overcome it because they're so good, but I don't get it. I just don't understand some of these managers. It's like they refuse to change the style of play when it's so clear. It's not even I wonder if this will work. It's so clear how you play against Liverpool. Obviously, the big news was that Alexis Sanchez was missing, and obviously there must have been a massive bust up in training or something along those lines. He obviously wants to leave, I think, at this point, and I think because he never would have dropped him for this game. Wenger's under pressure. He's his best player. He suits the system that they should play against Liverpool, which is quicker players. Giroud is not the player you play against Liverpool. And yeah, I just think Arsenal played into our hands. As soon as I saw that Sanchez wasn't playing the first 5 minutes, I was like, okay, we're good here. We're good here. It's weird being a Liverpool fan where I'm like, I would much rather play the top 6 every week than everybody else. It's a bizarre alternate reality that I am currently living as a Liverpool fan. So next week is Burnley, so we'll probably lose that 2-0, so, back to normal. But I was obviously very, very pleased with the result. We played well. Mane is just on sensational form. Wijnaldum getting his first home goal in about 400 years or something. I think that's the stat. Just check Opta for that one. But yeah, very, very happy, delighted. Next up, I'm going to give you a quick little game update on Uncharted playthrough and also talk a little bit about Game of Thrones. My Uncharted playthrough, like I said, I've never played the Uncharted series. I didn't have a PS3, and so I finished the first one, which I enjoyed. There was a few things I wasn't a fan of, like the end boss battle was just stupid and dumb. Also, I didn't like not the lack of ammunition, but the constant switching of guns all the time, forcing to switch guns because you're just grabbing whatever you can. Apparently you can only carry 20 bullets. Just get bigger pockets, mate. Just get bigger pockets. So I'm about 3-4 hours into Uncharted 2, and it's a definite improvement. You can see the jump in just technology. There's a few little bits in there as well. The intro, the first scene of the game is brilliant. Where you're hanging off a train and you've got to climb up and all that sort of good stuff. I like the storyline a bit more. The acting feels a bit better, more natural. There's a little bit more story in there, which I really like. The shooting is solid as ever. The only problem I have really with it is the same thing with that animation, but that's just the sort of type of game it is, really, more than anything. But really enjoying it. This is definitely a step up. I think the biggest thing for me is the difference in story. It's much more weighty. There seems to be a point a bit more rather than just let's go get treasure sort of thing. So I'm really enjoying that. The other thing I want to talk about is Game of Thrones. So many of you will know that over the last probably month, me and the missus, Curly, have been doing a Game of Thrones binge. I'm not going to give any spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet. We're up to... We've really caned it. We're up to halfway through season 5. And if you're wondering, somebody on Twitter says, "Oh, how far are you getting along with Game of Thrones?" And all I tweeted him was, "Hold the door." If you've watched Game of Thrones, you'll know what I mean. That's the episode we've just watched. Hold the door. Man, that was hard. But absolutely loving Game of Thrones. I knew I would because it's sort of my kind of thing, really. I much prefer binge-watching series, so when it first came out, I was like, we're going to watch that. I'll record the series, and we'll watch the whole first series. And then we never got round to it, and just never got to it, and we're like, okay, let's get to it. And we've binge-watched the whole of the series so far, so absolutely loving Game of Thrones. It's annoying that now we're almost catching up. I feel like almost bad because we're catching up now, but I love it. It's amazing. And there's lots of boobies. I love boobies. Right, on to the next. So a very quick sort of cigarette smoking and diet update, sort of health update really. This week the weigh-in happened and I lost ½ pound. Now, doesn't sound like much, but as you know, I'm not trying to go for this giant weight loss, it's just consistent weight loss. But the good thing was, it was my Mrs. Curly's birthday this week. You can leave her belated happy birthday messages in the comments. And so we had a couple of takeouts, you know, we snacked a bit, we stayed up late one night, snacked a bit, and all that, had a bit of chocolate, all that sort of stuff. So to still lose ½ pound, I'm absolutely delighted with. This is what I wanted to do, because whereas most strict diets, if I'm losing, say, 2-3 pounds a week, I'm eating very strictly, I'm special meals or whatever, calorie controlled, all that sort of stuff. A week like we just had would be a complete blowout, because you just go nuts, well, takeaways and all that sort of good stuff. But because of my just cutting it down a little bit, everything. I can have a takeaway, just don't order 7 things off the menu, just 6. And all that sort of stuff. It means that I can have a bad week, but still lose a little bit of weight, or level, or even gain ½ pound I'll be okay with on those weeks. So really chuffed with that. With the cigarettes, as you know, I'm cutting down very, very slowly. Haven't really gone anywhere. So last week I cut down to about 7 cigarettes a day. By just recording when I was having a cigarette. That's all I needed to do was just write down 7 cigarettes a day, and I'd then consciously be thinking about it when I have a cigarette. Like, oh, I don't actually need one now, I'll just wait. And so that's good. So the next stage over the next few weeks is just to edge this down. So even if it's in a month's time, I'm on 6. I'd be totally fine with that. And another month 5, another month 4, etc, etc. So very happy with that, all going well. If you're doing the diet or giving up smoking, let me know in the comments how you got on this week. That would be fantastic. It's always good to see other people doing it alongside me as well. Right, let's get on to the rant, because this one's going to be an interesting one. So, my rant today is an interesting one. By the way, I never script any of this. This is literally the entire video in a nutshell. It's just like, yeah, talk about open world games. So I might ramble about, but it's called a ramble. It's almost like I meant it. So, open world games. Now, these are a modern phenomenon just because of the technical aspect of having these giant games, the amount of work that goes into these giant games. If you're a massive multiplayer game like I am, not anymore because all the ones out at the moment are shit. There hasn't been a good MMO for years now. But I was an EverQuest player, an EverQuest 2 player. I also played Asheron's Call. What's it called? Dark Age of Camelot. I played that a lot. Star Wars Galaxies is my favourite game of all time, apart from FM. So I'm kind of used to that, even years ago, as a big open worlds and stuff like that. And one of the problems with MMOs back in the day, and probably still now, is that there's lots of filler. And now that games are getting bigger budgeted and all this sort of stuff, you're seeing, it's a big sort of selling point of open worldness. And look at all the Assassin's Creed games and stuff like that. And Witcher, what's that, Elder Scrolls, all those sort of games, I just get a bit fed up with them. I'm kind of over them, really. On the premise, they sound amazing because, you can just go anywhere and stuff like this. But in reality, so much of it is just utter filler content. Like, the fact of the matter is, most of these games, you should normally start off as some nobody, but the entire game role of the game is that you build up this power and you basically save the world from aliens or monsters or baddies or Trump or whoever, right? And that's, you're the champion. And But then you spent 3 hours collecting rabbits for this woman to make a pie, even though you're supposed to be saving the world, or hunting for wolf pelts and stuff like this so somebody can make a bed. It just seems so far attached, and usually the scripting and the story is just so boring on those bits, and they're done over and over because there's only so much recycled content you can use. The areas are usually not as nice looking. There's lots of empty places. You're just kind of wandering for hours. Like, the Assassin's Creed games, they've got an amazing world, but the whole idea of just moving to this other place, climbing a tower, and then you can see all the objectives that you got to do, I'm just kind of over it. I would love to know your thoughts on open world games. Like, the fact is that the matter is, I'm playing Uncharted at the moment, and it's as linear gets, right? There is no choices. You go, but if it's done well, and it's got a story, and they can focus on that narrow line of just what you're seeing, so they don't need to build a world around it, just that bit, then it can be amazing. And I prefer that. My ideal would be sort of a mix of I don't want an open world. I want maybe sort of bilinear gameplay where you can travel, you're going down that same road, but you can take different forks in the road and then eventually meet up and do other stuff and find your way, because then they can focus so much more on the gameplay. There's no fluff and stupid collection quests. Like, I remember playing Lord of the Rings online, and one of my first missions was to deliver letters to all these different little towns, and it was just, I just get bored of it. And also, like, the frustration, because I'm not a completionist in any way, so I'm not like one of those people, but quite often, if you just follow, in these open world games, if you just follow the main storyline, which is usually quite interesting, that's the where they put all the most effort into, and then you'll find yourself getting to a point where, okay, you're not actually strong enough to beat this boss or finish this quest, so you then have to go and grind, or you have to go and do some of these shitty side quests in the middle of nowhere, just so you're high enough level to then push forward. And that's just breaks the immersion for me. It forcing me to do that sort of stuff, I just think is just bad games design, really. And I don't like having that. If I look at a picture of a map in a game and it's got all the sort of, quest icons, I'm happy if there's one or two in there. When there's like, you look at the Assassin's Creed games, is a perfect example, and it's just a map covered in random shit, all the things you can do and stuff like that, and I don't need it. That doesn't make me go, oh cool, I've got so much to do. Just have a slightly more linear path through it. You can still do lots of the interesting quests, cut out all the bullshit. You don't have to build a complete world. I'm all for a bit more sort of bilinear, trilinear type games. And I think there's certain games that I think it works really well in. Like Grand Theft Auto, I think, is a perfect example. Because a lot of the time, you're in a car, you can zoom anywhere you want, you can find little bits, and you don't even need stuff. Like, you can just find a cool-looking hill that you think, shit, I can do a massive jump off this. That's enough. But it's not quests, it's different. So that, I think, works in those sort of games. But most open-world games just need to chill the fuck out. It's not about every game comes out and it says, oh, this map is twice as big as the last one. I don't care. Is it more interesting than the last one? That's what I want to know. So I'd love to know your thoughts on open world games. And like me, like when they first came out, I was like, amazing. This is amazing. I've got a whole world to explore. But as time's gone on, I'm just like, I'm over it now. Because so many games are like that now. And I'm over it. Give me a nice direct path where you can put all that love, time and money and effort into to make this beautiful story, and have some choices and directions that you can go in, but get to the same destination eventually. That's sort of my ideal game build, really. Right, there we go, we're done. Let me know what you think of that in the comments. Right, now on to let's go meet Freya. I have to go and get it now, so let's do it. Hello, this is Freya. Okay, you're not helping. This is Freya. She's a rescue dog. She's a spaniel mix. We don't quite know. I think she's probably just mixed with two different types of spaniel. So she's almost fully black. She's got a little bit of white there on her chest and a little bit of white on the... Oh, I'm keeping you up, am I? A little bit of white on the tail. And she's around about 4 years old, and we got her from the local pound. She was our second dog, so we got Loki, the Australian Shepherd, first, and then we got Freya second. We wanted a second dog, and we wanted a rescue dog, So we went to the pounds, because they got a website, we checked, and this one was on there. And so we went to see her, and we got to take her for a walk, and she pulled on the lead like an absolute crazy person, didn't you, Freya? Freya, did you pull on the lead? Did you? Yeah, you're crazy, aren't you? Crazy. And we learned a little bit about their sort of history. They didn't know too much, but what they knew that... I'll let you go down, Mrs. Go on then. Ooh, I'll put up some pictures over there. What we learned that she was in with her brother, so there was another dog there, and the owners just didn't want them. So they weren't strays or anything, but just from the little brief chat we had, and just the way that she was like terrible. She's never walked on a lead before. It's quite clear that when we took her for a little walk. And so we sort of surmised that basically she was an outside dog. So sadly, it's a quite a rare... It doesn't happen as much anymore. Over the years, like 20 years ago in England, you'd see that a lot more, that people had dogs in the garden. It's still quite popular in America. People will have garden dogs that, you know, spend most of their time outside or sleep outside. But it's always been a relatively rare thing in the UK. But Northern Ireland just seems a little bit behind still. There's still quite a few. Both my neighbours either side have got dogs. Both of them, their dog is outside nearly all the time. I think they both bring them in at... I'm not even sure. I don't even think they do. Not very... I don't like that. I don't see the point in having a dog. If they're pack animals, they need to be with people or other dogs. You know, that's just a thing. So what we did was we took Freya for a little walk around the local area. Like I say, she was pulling on the lead like a crazy dog, but we really enjoyed her. She was really, really friendly, desperate for attention, loved it, and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, okay, we took her back, put her in a little pen and in a kennel, and then sort of went to sort of have a chat. And we're just sort of sitting there chatting about the pros and cons. You know, so obviously it's a massive decision. So, but then somebody with their partner was at her kennel door, sort of poking in, talking about. I was like, Curly, somebody else wants the dog. I said, quick, grab the owner. So Curly went and grabbed the owner of the dog pound and said, look, you know, we want to take this dog. So they walked over together. I was just sort of waiting. And it turns out that the people at the door were the previous owners who, for some reason, I can't quite remember quite clearly why. For some reason, they decided that they wanted the dog back. They felt bad that they put them in kennels, and they were going to take the dogs back. And that's what Curly came over to tell me. And I said, don't care. We'll be better owners. Like, you know, we'd be better at this job. Go and get it. But it turns out they were quite happy for us to have it. They were just felt bad because they're in the pounds. I think they eventually decided to take the brother with them back because I think maybe 2 dogs was just too many. And so they took the brother back eventually. We took Freya back with us. I think her name was Meg when we got her. And she was about just under 1 year, close to around 1 year old when we got her. So we managed to get her from that and stuff. And she is absolutely sensational dog. Her temperament is... She's spaniel, so she's quite high energy. She loves to play. She rules the other 2 dogs, even though she's quite by far the smallest dog. She is the boss. She will... Anybody goes near her arse, and she will growl. Same as me. I growl when anybody goes near my arse, but she will growl at anybody that goes near her. She's like not interested in anything to do with that sort of stuff, and she will... I can command her. I can tell her. I say, Freya, go duff up Ollie. And she'll go and jump on him and play him and beat him up. And she will win all the fights, like the play fights. The only issue we have with her is obviously she spent a year of her life without ever being on a lead. And I'm a trained dog behaviourist, right? And I have not been able to train her to walk on a lead. I probably could if she was just my dog and I didn't have any other dogs. The problem being is, like, so the basics of lead training, the method that I found used the best over the years, I've had 17 odd dogs, is so you have the dog on a loose lead and you're walking, okay? So the dog naturally pulls ahead because there's lots of interesting smells and stuff. And as soon as that lead goes tight and they start pulling, you stop. And you wait. And eventually they'll sort of, smell something back here, and the lead will go loose again, and then you just start walking again. And as soon as it goes tight, you stop. Now, dogs love to get somewhere. They want to see what's around the corner. They want to see all the new smells. That makes sense. But they want to sort of experience all the new stuff that's going on. So that eventually it'll quite quickly click with a lot of dogs that, I only get to move if I'm not pulling hard. So eventually they'll just naturally go, okay, this is how we move. And you can use treats or clicker training as well. And there's a couple of other methods. And it does take a lot of patience, because you are stopping, especially if you've got a dog that pulls a lot. You are stopping a lot, and it takes over time. And you cannot break the rule. You cannot just, I need to get to this place, so I'll just let her pull for a bit. Then the whole thing's gone. You need to do it every single time and be consistent with it, as with all dog training. And because the single thing is, dogs learn through association. So they associate loose lead with we're on the move, right? So, and it's much harder to do that when you've got 3 dogs. Because unless then you're taking one dog out on its own all the time, if you were to take Freya out on its own, on her own, to do the training, it's very hard for the other 3 dogs to be doing that lead training while you've got on the other one and stuff, stopping and starting. The other 2 are confused because they've got loose leads and they're like, what's going on and stuff. So, and also, I think somebody's home from work. But also, the other thing is that, so we were like, okay, I just don't have the time with the 3 dogs to take them all out individually to do the lead training and stuff like that. So what I'll get her is an anti-pull harness. Not one of these choke collars. Don't ever fucking do that, or I'll punch you all. Shock collars, I will stab you with a fork. Okay, I'm just saying that now. But what it is it's a chest harness. So it goes around like a collar. It's got a chest. It goes under her armpits and straps at the back. And what it does is, when she goes to pull, instead of just sort of the normal pulling, on her neck, it basically lifts her off the ground a little bit. Therefore, she can't get traction, and it's an unnatural position. It's not painful in any way, but it's an unnatural position for dogs to be in, and they generally don't like, why am I lifted off the ground? Okay, I'm going to stop pulling and stuff. And even when she is pulling, it means she's not getting strangled. It's all on her body and stuff. So we thought we'd get that for the good of her, and it might help her out a bit. She won't pull as much. And this is, I'm talking about extreme end of pulling on a lead. She absolutely chokes herself all the time when she's on the lead. So this helped a little bit, but she was still really pulling, and we used it a few times, and it was 10% better, right? Maybe, which is still worth it, and it means she's sort of choking herself less. So we took her to the beach one day, and with the other dogs and everything, and she was pulling and all the normal stuff, and we let them off, and it was all good and stuff like that. It wasn't until we got home and I was taking this harness thing off that I noticed that under her armpits she'd got serious cuts. Like really serious, quite bad grazes, where she was still pulling so hard with this harness, even though it's supposed to be padded and all this shit, that she was like doing proper damage to herself. So basically what we do now is do short walks, or take her to places where she can immediately be let off. So we love the beach and everything, because it's only a 5-minute walk, and then she can be let off. I think if I had one dog, it'd be a lot easier to train her to non-pull, but I just don't have the time with all my work and my YouTube and stuff to do individual dog walks as well, just to so I can train her, leave the other 2 at home, and then take them out so they can enjoy their walk. And they love walking together, so it's always a bit of a sort of pain and a bit of a battle. But that is like literally the only negative about her. She's amazing. She's really cuddly. She likes going on Curly's lap and enjoying her time. She's she's really, she's obsessed with tennis balls, as most spaniels are. She loves noises like fireworks and stuff like that, because she's a gun dog in nature, so they're just built in to not be bothered by loud bangs, generally speaking, and stuff like that. So that is the story of Freya. She's an absolute superstar. Really happy. So I think we've met all 5 animals now. I'm going to have to just make up animals for next episode. We'll see what happens. Right, there we go, guys. We're all finished for the day. I hope you enjoyed this ramble. I think we covered... I think the biggest thing is I'd love to know your thoughts on open world games, because I think this is going to be quite split, because I know obviously there is a massive audience for these giant explorable worlds, but for me, I'd like just a good story. I don't mind if it's a bit more linear or bilinear or trilinear or quadlinear, but I think I'd love to know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Also, just before I go, this is a really good... the Weekly Ramble is a really good place. If you have any ideas about the channel, whether that's games you think I should play, or... thumbnails that you think I should use, or an update on something, or, just ideas about helping this channel grow and helping this community grow, then this is the great video to leave those comments in. Any ideas, however wacky or wonderful they are, put them in the comments below and I'll check them out. Right, thank you very much for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.